Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Slayatory Thursday. This week we're doing favorite book or favorite movie, and I opted for favorite movie. I'm not even a big movie person, but this movie is my absolute favorite of all times. Classic Meg Ryan, Tom Hanks, New York City in the springtime, big evil corporation pushing out small businesses, love, all the stuff. All the stuff. It's so, even to this day, when I rewatch it, yeah, it's cheesy. It's ridiculously unrealistic, but I still love it. It is my favorite. So this is a throwback to the 90s, and you've got mail. So what I thought I would do is I have this board. It is ridiculously huge. It's about 15 inches long until before the handle. And then when you get to the handle, that's another 5 inches. So it's enormous. And I painted it a super light pink. I know that probably looks white in this light, but I printed it, or I painted it pink. And then I thought, you know what? You've got mail. It's all about, the bookstore, shop around the corner, and big bad box books. So I thought, let's do a book theme and a movie theme, because how awesome is that? So I printed out some book spines, just different sizes, different colors, different styles. Some are more realistic, some are a little bit more whimsical, but either way, I think that they are super cute. So I printed these on sticker paper, which normally I would want to do a water slide, but because I was putting this on a rough surface, water slide didn't feel like the right choice. It would have been very difficult to get it in the right place without wrinkles and all of that. So I just printed this on my regular printer, and I'm going to cut it out, and then we're going to, do what stickers do and stick it down. And I feel like sticker paper isn't quite as sticky as it should be, especially given the fact that it's called sticker paper. So hindsight, I would have put some additional adhesive on the back of this, whether that's some glue or I don't know, I probably wouldn't have used 5-minute epoxy, probably just like some Elmer's glue, just to make sure it really stuck down. It started to peel up around some of the edges, which wasn't ideal, especially after, I started working on this and then I took some time away from it. So when I came back to it, it was kind of peeling up around the edges. So I definitely, if I was doing it again, I would absolutely put down some additional glue on the back of this just to make sure that everything stays where I want it to stay. And I did have to pick it up and reposition it a couple of times to make sure that it was exactly where I wanted it to be. So I'm sure that did not help with the sticky factor either. And I have to apologize if you can hear the cat. One of the cats has decided that she needs to be all up and involved in this process. And so she's climbed up in my lap and she's just like purring away. And she's too happy for me to, kick her off and kick her out. So apologies if she's super loud. So you'll see that some of the sticker paper is kind of hanging off around the bottom. That's totally fine. I just wanted to make sure that everything was the way I wanted it. If some of it was hanging off the bottom, that's okay, because I'm going to come back in with a craft knife and just cut off any of the excess that might be at the bottom. And when you're doing something like cutting sticker paper or vinyl, anything like that, it is so much easier and will save you so much time and hassle if you change your blade and you use a sharp blade. I would change it every single time, anytime I'm cutting paper, sticker paper, or any type of vinyl. I would change it every single time just to make sure that gives you the best finish. Because sometimes if your blade is a little bit dull, you will end up just ripping your paper. And that is definitely not what you want. You want a super clean cut. And don't be me. Be sure to cut away from yourself. Don't cut towards yourself. Don't do what I do. And if you aren't comfortable using a craft knife, you could also take a sanding block and just sand it right at the edge. You could just, I think it's like a 45-degree-ish angle or so, and you could just sand it off too. If you are more comfortable with that, I prefer a craft knife. It's easier. I feel like it's cleaner, but you can also use a sanding block if that's your preference. I think this looks pretty good so far. I'm happy with this. So here's where I kind of made a mistake. And I'm not sure how I would have done it differently, honestly. So I put the sticker paper down and I wanted to seal it in because I printed this on an inkjet printer. I didn't want to have any drama when I went to put the resin on. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to seal it because that makes the most sense. It's sealed. We don't have any problems. Now, maybe I should have sealed it before I put it on the wood instead of doing it afterwards. I'm not sure because I did put the Mod Podge on it. I could have used a spray sealer, but I didn't want to deal with the smell, and it was raining, so I couldn't do it outside. So I Mod Podged it. Now, it caused my paper to wrinkle in some places. Not a lot. It's not terrible, but it's also not what I wanted. So I don't love Mod Podge to begin with because I feel like it is always such a struggle to make sure that it doesn't wrinkle. And I thought that I had all the wrinkles out, but as it dried, some of them they came up, and by the time it dried, it was too late to fix it. So anyway, long story short, if I was doing this again, I probably would have spray sealed it before I ever put the sticker paper on. So that way, once it was down, it was down. But once again, what are you going to do, right? Like, I didn't know. I ended up giving it 2 coats of the Mod Podge just to make sure that it was completely sealed in. And it looks fine. It looks a little antique-y in spots. Yes, let's go with that. A little antique-y. So 24 hours later, everything's dry, everything's good to go. Along the bottom, there was some places where it was kind of pulling up. So I did put another layer of Mod Podge just down at the bottom to make sure that it was all stuck down. You can see a couple of the wrinkles here and there. I don't think it looks terrible. It's not ideal, but we're going to go with it. So I wasn't exactly sure how I wanted to kind of bring this all together. So I was like, well, you know what? Let's pick a line from the movie and let's put a quote on here. And there's this line in the movie. It's too it's too complicated to explain, but it's so not complicated. It's just a little too long to explain. So if you haven't seen the movie, highly recommend you go and watch it. So anyway, there's this iconic scene where Meg Ryan's talking to Tom Hanks and she's like, I wanted it to be you. I wanted it to be you so badly, So I was like, oh, this is perfect. So I ran to my Cricut. That's not true. I put this off for a really long time because the Cricut and I are not friends. And then, surprise, surprise, I had Cricut drama. I know that's just shocking. My offset, I could not get my offset to be small enough. No matter how many times I tried to type in a different number, it just would not let me do it. So I finally gave up and said, you know what, we'll just use something that's a little bit bigger than I wanted. Not ideal, probably shouldn't have done it, but I did it anyway. And if you're going, what the heck is an offset? An offset is kind of like so there's 2 colors on this, right? There's a chrome silver on the back, in the background, and then on top of it, there's pink lettering. So the offset is kind of that bubbly lettering that goes around your real letters. Does that make sense? Probably not. But anyway, it's a Cricut feature and it's really annoying and it doesn't like me. So as you can see, I'm super struggling with this. And that's actually because I made a mistake. I know that's a real surprise. But the chrome vinyl that I used is from Tech Wrap Craft. I don't know why I have such a hard time with that. And all of their vinyl is really premium. It's very good. It's probably my go-to vinyl for everything. But some of their vinyl has a protective sheet on the top to keep it from getting scratched, especially anything with like a chrome finish or anything that has like a super shimmery, shiny finish that can easily scratch. They put a piece of protective film over it. Fantastic, no big deal. I forgot to take it off before I cut my letters. Once again, not a big deal. You can just take it off. However, what I forgot was that the Cricut had cut the letters. And so when I took that protective film off, it took it off around the letters and not the protective film that was actually on the letters. Anyway, the pink did not stick to the chrome is what I'm saying. It looks like it did, but when I go to pull this up, you're going to see that the pink lettering will not stick to it. And that was because of operator error. So what I did was I ran back upstairs. Once again, not true. I literally went upstairs. I laid in my bed and I contemplated my life decisions. And then I very begrudgingly got up and went over to my desk and forced myself to reprint the letters. And then everything was fine. But yeah, the moral of the story is the Cricut is a monster. It's a beast and it's terrible. However, a lot of times it's operator error. And here we are, reprinted. No big deal. It's all good. It's just, it took 6 months off my life, but it's all good. No big deal. Anyway, so I just reprinted this. Now, some people are magicians and they're amazing and they can put all of their words on their offset all at once and it lines up perfectly and it's just like they are, I don't know, magical alien beings, because I cannot do that. I mean, I can, but it doesn't line up very well typically. So I will typically cut my words and do like one word at a time. And so that's what you'll see here is that I am literally just cutting out word by word. So, and then I'll put the pink into the silver. I just want to make sure that everything aligns as closely as I can get it so that it doesn't look like I was under the influence of too much chocolate when I put it on there. And I will spare you the long, harrowing, very mind-numbing process of putting all of these words on, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's all finished. Definitely not the best angle, but you get the idea. It's on there. Some of the offsets and some of the chrome, it dips down over the tops of the books. I don't necessarily mind that. I do wish I had made it smaller, but like I said, the Cricut was not being helpful. So I'm okay with it. What I'm doing now is I'm just taking some Mod Podge. I know, why am I doing this to myself? Why did I not just spray seal this? And just going over the letters just to make sure that they are stuck down, especially with the chrome. The chrome does not like sticking to anything that's not super smooth. So I just want to make sure that it's firmly adhered to the surface of the wood, because we're going to come in after this is dry and we're going to resin on top of it. And I don't want the letters to pull up underneath the resin. So I'm going to Mod Podge it. I'm going to cross my fingers that that doesn't affect the chrome finish on the vinyl. I don't know if it will. I hope that it doesn't. But we'll come back in 24 hours and we'll resin it and we'll see what happens. So I think the Mod Podge dried okay. It doesn't appear that it did any damage to the chrome finish on the letters. So far so good. What I'm going to do is I am a little bit rushed for time. I might have done everything other than top coat this. So we're going to use the J-Diction 4-Hour Fast Cure. I know, I don't like it, but I have to. And just to be clear, it has nothing to do with it being J-Diction. Their 4-Hour Fast Cure is fantastic. I just don't like the Fast Cure. It's super thick. It holds on to bubbles. It's just not my favorite, but I need it to hurry up and cure because I am behind. And honestly, it's a really good top coating resin because it's very thick. If I wanted this to flow over the sides, I would want to use a lower viscosity resin. But because I don't want it to flow over the sides, I just want it to stay on the top where I put it. I am using the Fast Cure, which is really thick and will pretty much stay wherever I put it. And I used to find top coating really intimidating, and it can be a little bit finicky, and you do want to babysit it when you're using regular resin. UV resin is obviously different, but if you're top coating with epoxy resin, you need to babysit it a little bit. Make sure your surface is clean, that you haven't touched it, put any little, oily fingerprints on it or anything. Resin is so finicky. It doesn't like debris. It doesn't like dust. It doesn't like oil from your fingers. It basically does whatever it wants to do and gets all cranky about it. So as long as your piece is clean and you babysit it, you'll be fine. Normally, when I'm top coating, I put, a big amount in the middle, kind of let it flow as much as it will on its own, and then just push it out to the sides. You take it right up to the edge, and that's really all you have to do. It will stay pretty much where you put it. Sometimes you'll see that there are places where it will pull away. It may be, there's a few reasons, right? So it could be because your resin, you don't have enough resin on your piece. It could also be that there's some debris or something, it's not clean. And so it's kind of pulling away from that spot. So I found the best way to avoid that is obviously make sure your piece is clean, but then also just babysit it. If you sit there for a good half hour, 45 minutes, generally it's going to thicken up and it's not going to move anymore at that point, at least in my experience. And so if you do have any that pulls away from a spot, whether in the middle or on the side, whatever, if you have any that pulls away, you can kind of push it back into that spot, and then you won't have to worry about fixing it once your piece is cured. So I am going to do just that. I am going to go over this a few times just to make sure that resin is where I want it to be. I'm going to hit it with a torch. You could use a lighter, you could use a heat gun. You don't want to add too much heat to it, because the more heat you add, the lower the viscosity and the more chance that it's going to run over the side. So definitely be careful if you're adding heat, but you can absolutely use a torch with this just because there's no silicone involved. So you don't have to worry about it sticking, the resin getting too hot and sticking to the silicone. So I will see you back here this is going to be done in 4 hours. So maybe we'll see you in 4 hours and we'll take a look at the final piece and we'll wrap this up. So I'll see you in just a sec. And here we have it, 24 hours later. I know it was fast cure. I could have done it last night, but I was so busy. We're done. And it turned out pretty good, actually. I'm surprised. I wish that I had done the lettering differently. I wish I would have spaced it out more. I wish I would have fought with the Cricut a little bit longer on the offset. But overall, I like it. I don't hate it. So let's go with that. Please check out the other creators in the description box below. I know there's so many great videos every single week. And of course, come check us out in 2 weeks where we'll be doing a vacation theme, and I have literally no idea what I'm going to do. So, which is not any different than any other week. So come back, see us in 2 weeks. Thank you guys for being here, and I hope to see you next time.